Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. Today we are breaking down week 14 of fantasy hockey. We're going to be looking at all the must-have players on the waiver wire, and then also breaking down the week 14 schedule, which teams have the best schedule, which teams have the worst schedule, and which players you should stream to help maximize your games and win you your matchup. Without further ado, let's dive right into it. Before we break down the week 14 schedule, I quickly want to talk about must-add forwards, and this is going to be brief because I did just make a video on most of these guys about 2 days ago, top 10 must-add players. However, I will talk about a few things on this list. Travis Konecny is still the #1 guy. He just had another amazing night. He's on pace for like 98 points in an 82-game season. Absolute incredible stuff. He is still going to be a must-add player until his roster is at like 85 to 90%. Max Pacioretty played his first game for the Canes on Thursday night, and even though he was on the fourth line, he played really good. I don't know if he was on the first line power play the whole night, but when I tuned into the game and the Nashville Predators got a penalty, he was on that first line power play, shooting from the top of the circle, and I gotta tell you guys, he looked really solid. I've been talking about for weeks how good he is peripheral wise, and in his first game, he had 6 shots and 2 hits, and although he didn't record any points, those points will eventually come, I promise you. I really like Pacioretty this year on an amazing Canes team, so well done if you snagged him off the waiver wire. I also added Tyler Bertuzzi to this list. Thank you to the guy that commented on my last video asking about Bertuzzi. I totally forgot that he was going to be back from his injury, and hopefully he can stay healthy, because guys, last year he had 30 goals in 68 games. That is really good, and I really don't think a roster percentage of 27% is high enough for a guy that can put up 35 goals. I really do think he can find a way back on the first line power play. There is a lot of potential, so keep an eye out for him. Another guy I quickly want to talk about is Dylan Strome of the Washington Capitals. He had a 3-point performance against the Columbus Blue Jackets Thursday night, and he's been playing really good. He's playing in the top 6, and he's playing on the first line power play. I don't know how that is going to change when Tom Wilson and Nicholas Backstrom are healthy, but for now, I think he's a really solid add. And lastly, I want to shout out Morgan Frost of the Philadelphia Flyers. He had a 4-point performance last night against the Arizona Coyotes. He currently has 13 points in his last 11 games, and he's only 4% rostered. He's on the first line, he's on the first line power play, and if he continues his play, he could be rostered in any leagues with 10 teams or more. That is definitely a possibility. For now, he's a short-term ad, and you can see how he plays, but I think there's so much potential with Frost, so keep an eye on him and see where it goes. Moving on to must-add defenseman, #1, Erik Gustafsson. I talked about this guy a ton as of late, but to keep things brief, he's on the first pairing, he's on the first line power play, and he's been on fire lately. So if you need a defenseman, with John Carlson out, he is going to put up a lot of points. Definitely take a look at him. #2, Jared Spurgeon, really picking it up as of late. Unfortunately, he isn't on the first line power play, but that isn't stopping him from putting up points and scoring goals. The main value of Spurgeon is that he puts up really good peripherals. He takes some shots and hits, but he puts up a ton of blocks. So if your league counts those, definitely look to add him onto your roster. #4 is a guy that I haven't really talked about a lot because he's been streaking as of late. That guy is Adam Larsson of the Seattle Kraken. Larsson is on pace to have a career high point total, and he puts up monster peripherals. If your league counts those, he has so much value. He puts up so many hits and blocks. If he keeps up this pace in terms of points, he could be a really solid option. #5, another Seattle Kraken defenseman, is Vince Dunn. He is on pace to have an over 50-point season, and he puts up solid peripherals too. I think he's just a really solid option. He gets power play time as well, and I think he's going to continue putting up solid points. Moving on to must-add goalies, I talked about most of these guys in my most recent video, so check that out if you want more details, but I will briefly say that, Copley is the Los Angeles Kings starter. He did just lose to Boston, let him 5 goals, but that is the best team in the league, so I'm not really worried about Quick taking back that starting spot. I know Copley is 30 years old and he's been a backup for his entire NHL career, but Jonathan Quick is out of his prime and has played terrible, so I do think Copley is going to be the starter for the rest of the season unless they trade for a goalie before the trade deadline. #2 is Filip Gustavsson, has played absolutely incredible, has the best goalie stats in the NHL since November 19th. He just had another win. He is day-to-day because he does have an illness, but he should be back. Fleury hasn't played the best, so if Gustafsson continues his play, he could begin to steal starts from Fleury. They are splitting starts right now, but things are looking really good for the young goaltender. Casey DeSmith, he just got lit up by the Vegas Golden Knights, but we don't know the extent of Jari's injury. If he's out for a month or more, DeSmith could be a really good option because the Penguins are a solid team. #5, 6K, Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen. I don't know what's going to happen with Eric Comrie back and that whole situation with Craig Anderson, him and Eric Comrie, but he's played really good. He's probably been their best goaltender as of late. He could get sent back to the AHL, but for now, he's a solid add with the way that he's been playing. Moving on to the Week 14 schedule, we have a bunch of teams that have decent schedules with some off nights. Unfortunately, the top teams don't have the best streamers to add for the week, but we will deal with what we have. Number 1, we have the Edmonton Oilers, who have 3 off nights, the most guaranteed off nights this week, with Monday, Wednesday, and Friday being off nights, and then Saturday being a heavy night. So they have 4 games this week. The next team is the Winnipeg Jets with 4 games this week, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, and Sunday. Friday and Sunday being off nights. The reason why Tuesday is colored in purple is because it's not a guaranteed off night. It depends on who you have on your team. They are likely a better team to stream than the Oilers in terms of the streamer options. But yeah, if Tuesday is an off night for you, really solid schedule. And even if not, 2 off nights is solid with 4 games. Next team is the Nashville Predators. They have 4 games as well, Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Saturday. So 2 off nights on Monday and Wednesday, pretty solid. The next team is the Canadiens. They have Monday, Thursday, Saturday, Sunday, 4 games, and then 2 off nights on Monday and Sunday. Then we have the San Jose Sharks, who only have 3 games, but they could have potentially 3 off nights. Wednesday and Friday are guaranteed, but again, Tuesday being purple, it might not be a off night for you. The next team is the Buffalo Sabres, who have 4 games, but only 1 guaranteed off night, but they do have Tuesday as well, so it could be 2 off nights, which is really solid. And then we have the Carolina Hurricanes, the Arizona Coyotes, and the Vancouver Canucks, all having the same schedule, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, Sunday. 1 guaranteed off night was Sunday, but Tuesday could be a potential off night as well. Lastly, we have the Seattle Kraken. They also have 4 games and 1 off night, and then also that Tuesday, that back-to-back, could be 2 off nights. We also have teams with 3 games and 2 off nights only, which are the Los Angeles Kings and the Philadelphia Flyers, who play Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday. So it might be beneficial to add them for Monday and Wednesday so you can have 2 games in a 3-day time period. That could be really beneficial with those 2 off nights. Now, with the worst schedules, we have 3 teams that only have 2 games and no off nights. These teams are the Chicago Blackhawks, the Vegas Golden Knights, and the Boston Bruins, who all play on Thursday and Saturday, which are pretty heavy nights. Unfortunately, those teams won't be good to stream, and if you have those players on your team, you better hope that they have a good week. So I broke this down into 2. We have the best off night streams. Because of the Tuesday implication, it's kind of hard to rank. It might depend, but I ranked these by off nights, and then the next section is going to be talking about teams with 4 games that do have Tuesday games as well. So those could be better options than some of these guys, but for now, let's break it down. Number 1 is Yamamoto of the Edmonton Oilers. They have 3 off nights this week, the best in the NHL, and then also 4 games. Currently on Daily Faceoff, they have him on the first line with Connor McDavid. He hasn't been the best this season, Yamamoto that is, but he's playing with Connor McDavid and you have 3 off nights, so why not give it a shot? He could put up some points. Number 2, Blake Wheeler, who has just returned from his injury. He's only 50% rostered, so he could be available in most of your leagues, and Winnipeg could have 3 off nights if you have Tuesday as not a heavy night, with Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, Sunday being their schedule. Ehlers is back, so I don't know if Wheeler is going to be on the first line power play, but he's going to be in the top 6 regardless, so a really solid option. Number 3 is Cole Perfetti, who's also returning to the Jets. Like I said, they could have 3 off nights this week, but 2 guaranteed, and they have 4 games. With all position eligibilities, this is a really solid option because he's been really good this year. Number 4 is Costin of the Edmonton Oilers. He has been a bottom 6 forward for most of the season, but they moved him up to the first line to play with McDavid, and he has been producing really well. He also puts a lot of hits up if your league counts those. Hopefully he can stay on that line, and he could put up a lot of points. Number 5 is Logan Couture of the San Jose Sharks, who does have 3 games this week, and he could have potentially 3 off nights if Tuesday is not heavy. You may just want to add him for Wednesday and then get him for the Wednesday and Friday game. Number 6 is Victor Arvidsson, who has been an all-around solid player, and he's been on fire as of late. That second line of the Kings is really clicking. They have 3 games, but 2 off nights, so you might want to add him for the Monday and Wednesday game. Number 7, Philip Deneau, also playing on the line with Arvidsson. That line has been really good. 3 games, 2 off nights, solid option. Number 8 is Kevin Hayes of the Philadelphia Flyers, who has put up a lot of points this season. He's in the top 6, and he's on the first line power play, so it could be a really good add for the Monday and Wednesday games. Number 9, Morgan Frost, 13 points in his last 11 games, first line and first line power play, and like with Kevin Hayes, the Monday and Wednesday games could be a really solid option for you to stream. Number 10, Nito Niederreiter, who is on the third line and on the second line power play, but he's put up a lot of points as of late. He had a 3-point night the other night, and he does have 2 off nights. He puts up a lot of hits as well, so Monday and Wednesday could be a really good stream for you. Number 11 and 12, Nick Suzuki and Kirby Dach of the Montreal Canadiens. First line and first line power play. They have slowed down tremendously. Suzuki has been playing really bad as of late after starting the season super hot. They have 2 off nights Monday and Sunday, but they also have 4 games, so it could be a good add for the entire week. Number 13 and 14, Granlund and Juuso Parssinen of the Nashville Predators. They have both been solid this year. Parson is on the first line and the first line power play. And with 2 off nights, Monday and Wednesday, they could be good adds for the entire week or just those Monday and Wednesday games. Moving on to 4-game streams, and like I said in the last section, if your team doesn't have a heavy night on Tuesday and there's a roster spot available for you to add someone, these guys could be better options than some of the guys that I talked about on the previous list. So do yourself a favor, go check your schedule next week and see if you have a roster spot available on Tuesday for you to stream. Number 1, Max Pacioretty. They eased him back into the game, playing on the 4th line, but he did see first line power play time as well. I think he is going to be in the top 6 next week, and he puts up amazing peripherals. I am sure he is going to put up points as well, so an amazing option with 4 games. We also have Tara Vinen of the Carolina Hurricanes, who is in that top 6 as well, not on the first line power play, but he has been heating up as of late after starting super slow. Number 3 is Dylan Cozens of the Buffalo Sabres, who has 35 points in 36 games this year. The Sabres can score a lot of goals, and Cozens is playing on that first line power play with Tage Thompson, Jeff Skinner, and Alex Tuch, so a really solid stream. Number 4 is Nick Schmaltz, who has 18 points in 21 games. I have talked about how underrated he is, and I think he's a really great stream this week with potentially 2 off nights and 4 games. Number 5 is Andrei Kuzmenko of the Vancouver Canucks, who just scored 2 goals against the Colorado Avalanche last night. This increases his goal total to 17 goals in 37 games, putting him on pace for 37 goals in a full season. He has clicked really well with Elias Pettersson on that line, and he gets decent amount of power play time as well, so a really solid option. He can put up a lot of points in any given night. Number 6 is Brock Besser, who is kind of heated up as of late. I think he's back on the first line power play, and with the Canucks able to score a lot of goals, I think he's a solid stream. I think Kuzmenko is slightly better, but with 4 games, I think he could be a viable option as well. Number 7 and 8, Jared McCann and Matty Beniers, both Seattle Kraken players, 4 games. And they have both played really well this season. Beniers kind of went on a little slump, but he's picking it up as of late. And McCann has been scoring like crazy. I think he's on pace for like 40 goals in a full season. Number 9, Lawson Crouse. He scores a lot of goals. I think he's on pace for 30 goals in a full season this year. And he also puts up amazing peripherals. So if your league counts those, he is going to give you guaranteed points, even if he doesn't score any goals. Number 11, Mikheyev of the Canucks, who's playing on that line with Kuzmenko and Elias Pettersson, isn't on the first line power play, but he's having a really solid season this year, on pace for something like 28 goals, so a solid option probably in deeper leagues. All right, for the goalie streamers this week, we have a couple of good options. Number 1 being Antti Raanta of the Carolina Hurricanes. Raanta has played solid as of late. He's 10-2-2 on the season, and he plays on one of the best teams in the league in the Carolina Hurricanes. With 4 games, he could very well get 2 or 3 of these games, but that's all contingent on if Freddie Andersen comes back. They said that Andersen is going to return the second week of January, but we don't have a confirmed date as to when he's returning. It could be the very end of this week, or maybe it's the start of the week after. There is a chance that Raanta and Kochetkov split starts if Andersen doesn't return, and even if that's the case, that's still 2 starts for Raanta on a really good team, so likely 2 wins. Number 2 is Stuart Skinner of the Edmonton Oilers. Yes, he struggled against the Seattle Kraken the other night, and he got pulled, and then Campbell the next game against the Islanders got the win, but if they give Skinner more starts like they have been as of late, then this means that he is a fantastic stream. He's been really good for the Oilers. Monday, Wednesday, Friday are off nights. They have 4 games, and none of these are back-to-back, so it is likely that Skinner is going to get at least 2 starts this week, which should be a decent amount of fantasy points. Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen of the Buffalo Sabres, 6K himself. If Eric Comrie is not back this week, then that means Luukkonen is going to get a decent amount of starts. The Sabres can win some games, and he makes a lot of saves, so always a good option. Number 4 is Martin Jones of the Seattle Kraken, and even though him and Grubauer were splitting starts for a little while, it appears that Jones is the number 1 starting goalie on that team. He's outplayed Grubauer. He started 6 of the last 7 games, and he's played solid as of late. With 4 games, a back-to-back on Saturday, Sunday, there is a very good chance that Martin Jones starts 3 of these 4 games, and if the Kraken keep winning like they have been, then this could be really good for your team this entire week. All right, the last thing we're talking about is back-to-back goalie streams. We have a couple of very good options on this list, so let's get right into it. Number 1, Akira Schmid of the New Jersey Devils. They have a back-to-back Friday and Saturday, and Friday they play the Ducks. There's a chance that Saturday he does get the Kings, and that is still a good option because Schmidt's stats have been very good, but ideally he would get the Ducks. That would be a really good stream. Number 2 is Kevin Lankinen of the Nashville Predators. They play the Canadiens on Thursday. They have a back-to-back Wednesday, Thursday. Wednesday they play the Toronto Maple Leafs, so they are going to give Saros that game. Lankinen has played pretty solid solid in the games that he has started for the Predators this season. He has a .916 save percentage, and that is because the Predators allow so many shots against, as you guys probably saw in that Carolina Hurricanes game. Number 3 is Antti Raanta and Kochetkov of the Carolina Hurricanes. And obviously with Anderson back, they might not get the start, but that is up in the air. We don't know exactly the day that Anderson is going to be returning yet. They have a back-to-back Saturday and Sunday. Saturday against the Penguins and Sunday against the Canucks. And I think this Sunday matchup against the Canucks is very good. Number 4 is the Buffalo Sabres goalies, Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen and Craig Anderson. They play the Flyers on Monday, and even though the Flyers have been scoring a lot of goals as of late, they are still not a very good team, and I could see the Sabres getting a win in this game. So if either one of those goalies start, I think that's a great option as well. Number 5, we have James Reimer or Kaapo Kähkönen. San Jose obviously isn't one of the best teams in the league, far from that, but Reimer and Kähkönen have kind of been splitting starts as of late, and they do play the Coyotes on Tuesday, so probably a good stream. Can't say they are going to get a guaranteed W, but you always want to stream against teams that are bottom of the barrel like the Arizona Coyotes. That is the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching. I likely won't be posting for another week, probably next Saturday with a week 15 guide video, because I am getting my wisdom teeth removed. I won't be able to record on camera with my big chipmunk face, but yeah guys, I will be posting next weekend, so keep an eye out for that. Make sure you hit that subscribe button below if you enjoy this content. Trying to hit 1,000 subscribers before the end of the season, so I would really appreciate it. Also hit that like button too. But yeah, that's pretty much it guys. Like always, have a good one.